Make sure to subscribe to Ben on YouTube so you can stay up to date on everything Humble.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Humblebee. We're back at it on another amazing episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Look what I found in the mix. I found the old Humble chain, so we're bringing it back. Today, I'm jazzed up because I've got an amazing conversation today with a really cool guest. It's a new friend of mine. This is going to be cool, man. I think we're going to keep it light, entertaining. So if you're having a rough day, tune in. If you're having a great day, tune in twice. Come on, it's gonna get awesome. And we got some cool stuff in the mix. So yeah, guys, I hope you're ready. It's gonna be a beautiful weekend here in Canada. So I'm gonna talk about some cool stuff now. Let's get this party started. So let me bring on this dude, stud, straight up stud. Done a whole bunch of cool stuff in the music space, the entertainment space, in the clothing space, a lot of different businesses this guy's been involved in. He's got a very cool story, man. Very cool story where he grew up, born in New York, and a lot of cool. Dude, I love Americans. I'm sorry. I love Canadians, but I love Americans. They got amazing, amazing journeys. So let's do this. Without further ado, let's bring on my man, Mr. Brian Breach, to the show. Brian, what's good, man?
What's going on, man? Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I appreciate it during this quarantine pandemic time.
Yeah, man. Good to have you here. Was that a moose call? Were you trying to do a moose call?
No. Actually, that was me trying to mimic like a crowd cheering, like,
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, that was horrible. That was a horrible crowd impression. My bad.
Here we go.
Yeah, if it gets mistaken for a moose, I'm fucked. Yeah.
Well, good to have you here, man. Good to connect with you. You've done a lot of really cool stuff, and I'd love to kind of jump into your story. And dude, you're a young buck, man. How old are you, Brian, right now?
Surprisingly, I'm 39. I look younger than I am, but yeah, I'm 39, bro. It's crazy to even say those words out loud. Thank you.
That's awesome, man. I'd love to jump in a whole bunch of stuff. Kind of give us a rundown of what's going on in your life today, man. Like, what are you working on? And then we'll kind of tie it back with your story and everything else. But just give us a rundown of today.
Yeah, man. The last couple of years have been absolutely bananas. As you said, I started in the music space, and that's how I got verified. And I got the amazing opportunity to open up for a lot of famous artists, a lot of big names. We started an independent label, started a hip hop blog, and we just kept moving with music. And then I think it was around like 2016-ish, I released my last album. I had some really dope features on there, and I put it out there, and I just kind of felt done with music. I was like, at that point, you know how they say, like, everyone's like, oh, you quit. Sometimes quitting doesn't mean you quit. It just means you pivoted and you learned when it was your time to move out of it. You know what I mean? So I just felt like it was my time to move out of music, and it paid off because it was a combination of two things that kind of blew up. So after the music, I was given the opportunity to do a TED Talk, and I did a TED Talk. I think it was I can't remember, April, May, June, July, something like that of that year. And it was about 5 months after the TED Talk where I was already gaining some kind of steam and a little more notoriety after the music world. And then this thing that I shot went viral. And to me, if I had to put like my finger on what it was that blew everything up, it was the combination of the TED Talk and the thing that went viral. And it was like, boom. And then I got contacted to speak. And what's crazy is when the thing went viral, it got featured on MSNBC, CNN, Fox, MSNBC, Yahoo, and all this stuff. And I never thought in a million years that I'd be asked to speak around the country and other countries about going viral. So they're like, yo, you want to come speak? What was your TED Talk about? I was like, how to survive without a job through failure, because I was on my 10-year anniversary of not having a 9-to-5 and surviving all these years by failing, but succeeding. And someone's like, yo, why don't you speak about going viral? And I'm like, that's an interesting concept. I'll talk about it. I'll tell you my whole process from when I started making shit videos to going viral. And then last year, I've been asked to speak around the country. I got opportunities to be the ring announcer, celebrity boxing, celebrity softball. It's been like this crazy whirlwind of stuff. And I never thought that I would pivot outside of music and it would take off like that. And I've been invited on radio shows, podcasts, TV show. And now currently, right before the pandemic, I was working on my own show called America's Gone Viral with my partner, Christine Curran, who has her own show called Dining Divas. And now we just linked up with a publicly traded company called The Movie Studio we're going to be shooting over there. So the basic concept of the show is it's going to be the first competition show for up and coming content creators where we're going to issue them viral challenges, and we're going to actually show the behind the scenes on how content really goes viral. I don't mean going viral as in I got drunk and threw up at a party and went viral, or I started fighting with my neighbor and it went on World Star and went viral. I mean, really strategically shooting viral content. So we're going to issue challenges to multiple content creators, and they have to be like up and coming content creators, like under 10,000 followers, brand new. They want to make a career out of it. They love it. And it could be like a brother and sister team, family team, two brothers, whatever it is. We're going to issue them challenges. You know, there's so many things that go viral. It could be a skit, social experiment, prank. You could shoot whatever, and we're going to issue them challenges. We already have 3 influencers that already jumped on board. Supreme Patty's one, Francetti, and then Antonio Skits we were in talks with. Combined total, they have 11 million followers. So we already have like a big fan base built in the show, and they're going to present their content that they shot themselves on the show to the content creators. We're going to judge them, and we're going to put it on like a centralized YouTube channel. Whoever gets the most likes, views, and comments, in a sense, go viral, and then move on to the next round. So it's going to show like the real nitty gritty on how viral content is made. And that was what I was working on heavy before the damn pandemic hit. And then coronavirus kicked me in my face. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
So
dude,
that is the very short version.
We came to Canada in 1991 with nothing but a will to thrive. They risked everything they had, left behind everyone they knew.
The only way out of the country was illegal, and the risk was huge.
I adopted the mindset that my parents had of faith and vision for my life. You see, they helped me understand that you get to decide what happens in this world. By the age of 30, I became a millionaire. I refused to accept scarcity, limiting beliefs, or someone else's excuses. So you want to know what the secret is? People ask me all the time, what's the secret? You want to know what it's going to take for you to succeed? Here's the truth.
I love the stuff that you got going on. There's 2 things I really like about you, dude, because we resonate on a certain frequency. Number one, you're willing to just play big. You're going hard. You're not like just chilling all day, and like you're willing to go at music, go at media, go at your brand, go at your speaking. And I think that's such a key ingredient, speed and desire to push through. And I want to touch on that, you know, with you, man, because I want to get a little bit more direct with your story here today. And, you know, if you're cool doing that. The other thing too, bro, is I see you're not afraid, man. Like I've seen some of your stuff and I'm like, oh, shit. Like, you know, like you had all kinds of things out there like where you're pranking TMZ and all this stuff. Like, you know, and so where does that courage come from, or lack of fear? Yeah. Talk to me.
Yeah, no. So what it was really is that when I knew I was going to start shooting these like viral comedy sketches, everything I'm doing, I already knew that I was going to get some kind of negativity. I already knew it. I know how the internet is. No matter what you do, you're going to get negativity. People aren't used to the shift in me, even though I incorporated some kind of comedy stuff. And I told myself, I remember writing on a board after music, I'm like, you got 1 year for something to go viral. If it doesn't go viral, forget it. And I told myself to go big. I literally said that. I remember telling myself, if it doesn't make you sick to your stomach or you want to throw up while you're doing it, don't do the shit because it's not going to pay off. And what I noticed as I kept going, and so I shot one skit, didn't make me nervous. It did okay. And then I remember pulling the prank at the Miami Heat game, and I couldn't even, like, I was going to puke on myself. I was so nervous. Mm-hmm. I did a proposal prank at the Heat game, and I had to lie to the Miami Heat for like 3 weeks and pretend that I was proposing to my fake fiance. I hired actors. I put them in the crowd. I mean, we bought out seats. We bought out 8 seats, and it was crazy. Like I was like this, and then I put up a billboard over I-95, and it was my head on a naked body. I was looking for a manager. I was nervous as shit about that. I thought it was going to get so much hate, and I just remember I kept going and going and going. And every time that I've done a social experiment, even the homeless one that went super internationally viral, even that one, when I was doing it, I'm nervous, my heart's racing. And I know, even though I'm uncomfortable, I'm out of my comfort zone, I know for a fact that when I don't feel right about something, because it's crossing, I don't want to say boundaries or lines, but it's making me feel nervous about doing it, I know in my heart that's the one that's going to hit. And it's almost like 98% accurate. So you got to always step outside your comfort zone. Who gives a fuck what everyone thinks, bro? You know what? The negative comments under your videos will get you more, what do you call, publicity, or push you higher up in the algorithms than all the positive comments combined. I call it the Britney Spears or Tekashi 6ix9ine effect. I'm not a fan of Tekashi whatsoever, but I notice and I study algorithms, and not really the algorithm, but I study the waves of the internet. I see it, and I see what happens. And when you're going hard at doing something, I don't want to say negative, but just gaining kind of attention for yourself, you're going to have tons of negative people. Now, when the negative happens, it happens hard. It goes hard. Like Britney Spears, when she shaved her head, everyone called her crazy. Every magazine was like, what a fucking lunatic. All the negative came. But this is what happens. When negative hits so hard for a month or two, finally people are like, leave them alone already. Shut the fuck up. We're tired of hearing that negativity. And then all these positive people, positive. It's like the
they
negative.
Come back in.
It's like the positive. It's like chemo fighting off cancer. And then all of a sudden it's this massive war under your comments, and you blow the fuck up every time. It's like, it never fails. I see it every day,
So let's talk on that. Let me touch on that.
That's my take.
Because there's a method to the madness here. So a lot of people, they see the outside activity, but they don't look at the inside intention or really what's going on behind the scenes. There's actually a strategic business thought process here in relation to probability of success. And I see you, man, as a person who's doing the math in your head, and you're like, if I strictly get enough attention in this space, the probability of it going viral is this, and then this, and then this, and then this. But people only see the activity, and they judge you based on the activity. And at the end of the day, man, sometimes you're saying uncomfortable, which means at the root of who you are, you probably wouldn't do those things organically, right? But you're doing it in a sense where it's almost like a business op. And people who look at you, it's like, hey, man, you got to respect the hustle. The dude's putting out a hustle. You might disagree with the activity. You might disagree exactly with the approach. But at the end of the day, it's a strategic play on getting attention, and attention is currency these days. And you've done a solid job with that. So talk on that, man. Is that how you think about this, or do I have you pegged wrong?
No, you are 100% accurate. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of sides. We're not one way. All of us aren't one way. So there are days where I feel the need, to be a little crazier than others. I'll be walking through a mall, do something silly. There's like, I feel it in me. There's a need for that. And then the other days, there's a need. I don't want to be seen by anybody. I want to be quiet. I want to be Brian, the businessman. I want to be strategic. But then I knew when I went down that world, just like you said, that I was going to have to go a little bit more overboard. I already knew it. And people knew me, for friends of mine, they know me for going a little extra with things, even in my early days. Like, I'd be the guy who sometimes went a little extra, not like drinking, getting fucked up. I mean, just going overboard with joking around and shit like that. So, I knew
I've
I was
never
going
done
to
that.
get,
I've never done that ever.
Yeah.
I've never gone overboard with the joke in my life.
Okay. I can see the sarcasm. Yeah. But I knew I was going to have to go hard. And, even for example, that billboard that I put up, that was probably the most nervous I've ever been, because the billboard was going to be up for a month and a week. And it was going to be over 95 with my head on a half naked body. Not only that, but I was looking for a manager, which when I was strategically thinking about it, I was like, I sought out all angles, and I fucked up a little bit too. I sought out all angles, and I'm thinking in my head, like, am I going to come off pretentious in this? And then I stopped thinking. I was like, who gives a fuck? I'm doing this and you know what? That billboard got me more opportunities than anything combined. I'm still literally to this day gaining things from that particular billboard off connections that I made during that time. And it was a nerve-wracking experience, but it paid off. And I actually overthought it, and the wording of the billboard was completely wrong. And I thought about it 100 times. I don't know how I fucked this up, but the wording was, looking for a non-shady manager, but becoming a bear, find me on IG. So everybody read that in their mind. I was reading it like, hey guys, I'm looking for a non-shady manager, but I'm becoming a bear. People were reading it like, looking for a non-shady manager, but becoming a bear? Contact Brian Breach for all your management needs. That's how they were reading it. So for a week straight, I was getting messages to manage people. I could have started a management business with how many messages I got off that billboard. So I had to take the billboard down and put correct lettering up there. So anyway, it was a lot of thinking. Everything that you said was correct about pegging me. I'm very strategic with what I do. I pretended to be famous at a mall, at the Sawgrass Mall in Florida. I hired 8 fake actors, 2 paparazzi. I hired 2 fake bodyguards, and I had 2 girls scream like I'm Justin Bieber, and the entire mall followed me like I was the most famous person on planet Earth. I got escorted out by 8 security because the fame was too much. Hundreds of people asked for my autograph. It was the most craziest experience in my life, and I was the most nervous that I've ever been. But I like doing it. I need to feel that adrenaline sometimes. I need it. So,
Dude, it's almost like a test in psychology, because people, I really do believe that there's a whole sheep and wolf mentality out there, and there's so many people are sheep, and they're like, I'm a wolf. If you don't know definitively you're a wolf, you're just a sheep. It's obvious. Your level of awareness is so low. Let's jump into some of the business stuff, man. So a lot of people see the activity. Again, they're going to judge it based on the activity. I'd like to understand Brian, because this is what my audience loves, is like, dude, where do we come from with all this stuff? And how do we push? I want to kind of touch on this. Would you take us back, man? Because I think I have an idea of why you just don't care. Like, you're just willing to do whatever. Would you take us back, man, when you were like a young kid, the stuff that you had gone through in your life, and just give us a quick rundown on that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, the way I describe it is I was born in New York to a very busy dad who worked 80 hours a week, and a very abusive mom at that time when I was a kid. And my mom was just like overboard crazy. I still have a slice on my face from when her fingernails sliced my face open. And she was a crazy woman at the time. She was caught interstate trafficking while I was living in the house. I didn't know this till later, but she was arrested in front of me. I don't remember her being arrested in front of me. She was arrested in front of me, and it got so bad around the house that I don't know if you saw this in my TED Talk, but my dad used to my dad wanted to catch the abuse going on while he was at work so he could use the tapes in the custody battle. He wasn't allowed to by law, but that's what he was trying to do. So during that time, she cheated on my dad, and she with a neighbor's friend who was living in their basement, and she contracted HIV. She didn't know that she had HIV, but 5 years later, somehow she gets custody, takes us to Florida, meets a man named Jordan, who was like a stepdad to me. We lived together for like 5 years. He was actually a really good dude. And I was wrong. I thought that he was the one that gave it to her, until later on, I found out that she got it way before she even came down here. And the guy who was living with us, right when my mom went to the hospital and was dying of AIDS, he was murdered in a drug deal gone wrong in a parking lot in Boca Raton, Florida. He got ran over. They airlifted him to the hospital. And right at that time, I lost my mom, lost him, lost like 5 other family members. My dad got custody. He's dead broke, sleeping on the floor. He meets my stepmom. We move into her house. She has a grand mal seizure. The first month or 2 we're in her house. She's out of commission. Then my dad was given a staph infection a year later by the hospital. He was out of work for 9 months, barely could walk. So I was kind of very independent at a young age. Quickly, I was hustling for money. I was always figuring out ways to make money. I had my first job at 11, second job when I was 13. I worked as a busboy, dishwasher, anything I could to make money. So I was always independent through that time. And then it was from like 2004 to 2008 where I had my last 9 to 5 ever. I went through like processes of working through restaurants and telemarketing and cell phone sales and doing all this stuff, making money every way I can. And then I got fired from my last job in 2008. But in 2006, I was arrested twice like an idiot. And that fucked me up from getting a job literally almost ever again. I couldn't get a job anywhere 2 years after that, in 2008. And it was very difficult at that time. So I was thrown to the wolves. I couldn't probably get a job at McDonald's if I tried. They wouldn't even hire me in the same company I was fired from, even after they told me to go in a different department and I'll definitely get hired. They're like, they ran my background check for some weird reason. I'm like, why are you running my background? I've already worked here for 4 years. You know me. I've literally talked to you hundreds of times. I'm sorry, that's what we got to do, and you can't work here. I'm like, wow. So I was terrified. And I'm not gonna lie, I did some under the table things to make money, but I always stayed afloat. I always started a new business. We went from performing, throwing hip hop shows, making money, being the promoter, booking the artist, putting ourselves on the show, getting the money from the door, putting my face big on the flyers. Then we went to a hip hop blog. We started an independent label called GTPS. then a printing business called GTP, Get That Paper Son, and then my clothing line Psyche, which I went hard with, then slowed down on. That turned into my my social media business, which was the first business out of like 10 years that actually made me decent money. And I was actually thriving and saving, which I still do quietly now. And then I quit music, and then the whole viral thing, and now things are exploding even more. So it's never too late in life to start over. I must have started over like 5, 6 different times, and I'm just starting. So I hear young kids like 18, 19, like, you know, I used to think when I was 18 that 30 was old. 30. My life did not start until I was 33, and my life is still starting right now. I'm literally starting my life with so many opportunities right now, and I'm already surpassed my 35. So you could do whatever the fuck you want. Who cares? We're only going to be here for a blink of an eye. If you think about it, everyone we know is going to be dead in 100 years. Who gives a fuck anymore? Just go hard. As long as you're not being racist or doing stupid shit to hurt people, go hard. Don't care what people think. You know what I mean?
Dude, I love that. I know you're on Brad's show, but I'm hitting you. Boom. Boom. 2 in a row. Come on, man. Dude, I'm so thankful that you were willing to share that level of perseverance. And there's something beautiful in every story, man. In every person, there's some amazing good. And you said something during your TED Talk that I was watching. You said that you find the success within failure. And you said that life isn't about, finding yourself. It's about creating yourself. And I thought that was brilliant. And, it seems like you through enough, let's say, failures and trial and error. You started off with this rough upbringing in a way, but then you just kept going. Talk about that whole piece of creating yourself. Because, dude, it seems like so many excuses get removed when you're like, dude, I'm here creating all day. It don't matter if I keep failing at it.
Right. So that's not my personal quote, but I love that quote. That was on my wall at my old apartment, and it's one of my favorite quotes ever. Now, I do believe, because I've had discussions about that particular quote, and I do believe that you learn things about yourself. I know that because I've learned things about myself. There are things that I notice that I do, and I don't tell myself to do it, but I do it. So, yeah, you will find yourself a little bit, but a majority, I'd say like 97% is not finding yourself. It's making yourself into who you want to be. If you want to be like, I saw what your amazing, by the way, promo video. While I was like blown away watching. You guys did a great job. If you want to be a real estate investor and you don't know a damn thing about real estate, you can create. You could turn yourself into the biggest, baddest real estate investor of all time. It doesn't have to be. You're not going to find that inside of you. You just you go for it. You hold on to something and just go hard. And, I tell my nephew this all the time. He's younger. Sometimes he doesn't believe in himself. I'm like, bro, you can learn anything you want. It might take you longer. And it might take, if we both want to be a brain surgeon, for example, it might take me 3 years to become a brain surgeon. It might take you 10. But if I want it or you want it, we both can get it. I don't believe that anyone's really smarter than anyone else. It's who really wants something more. Some people can retain information better and stuff like that, but anyone can get to it. And with me personally, my ambition exceeds my talent in every category, in everything I've ever done. I played basketball, I skateboarded, I did art, I was an artist, and my ambition, everything I've ever done, is far outweighs my talent by 1,000,000%. My talent sucks compared to how ambitious I am. So you make yourself who you want to fucking be in this life. If you want to stop being angry all the time, you don't have to. You ever hear a girl or a guy, they're like, I'm just a bitch, deal with it. Fuck you. I'm not dealing with that shit. If you want to stop being a bitch, go to therapy. Go talk to an anger management. You don't have to be that way your whole life because you think it's wired in you. You can change your trajectory, So that's my thought process.
I believe in that.
I get that
I do believe that
wired a certain way, but yeah.
Well, they may be more preconditioned or wired to certain things, but you can always change that. If you want it bad enough, it's no different than wealth, right? You want to make money in life, you're like, well, what was me? Yeah. Go ahead, man.
No, I was going to say, when I make that statement, I don't want to take away from people that have like real anger issues or people that are depressed. I know that's hard to get out of. I know those are chemical things. I know that's different, but I mean, everything else in this life, if you want something, make it happen. If you want to go after something, don't let it stop you. If you're the type of person that falls asleep because you read books, figure out a way. Figure out a way to stay up. Figure out a way to get energy. Drink a damn Red Bull. There's ways around everything. There's solutions to every problem, and you don't need to always find yourself. You could create the person you want to be and change your life at any moment. I've seen it with a million people before. I've done it myself. It is very possible. And I hate when people tell me, no, this is the way life is. It's going to suck. No, it's not going to suck. Change that shit any day you want.
That's a decision, man. Like what you're talking about is so profound because yes, do people struggle in different areas of their life? Their flesh, the mindset, and all different things. Of course they do. We all struggle with something in life, but there's an answer if you want it. And it comes down to a decision, right? A lot of people, they want to see the angle. They want to see the end game before they take the action. Like when I see how to make money or when it's proven to me, then I'll take the action and do this business, or I'll take the action and get on social media. But it starts with just the action. So you're not going to learn what works until you're in the middle of it, doing it. You're going to say, wow, I have to pivot. I have to adjust. I got to be willing to adapt. So I think the people who win, man, are people like you and me. Like quick, execute, just go.
Right.
And you're going to figure out what's working, dude. By the way, if you guys are interested in real estate investing and you are in Canada, I wrote a book here called Real Estate Secrets Exposed. Learn how to actually make money virtually, which is cool, from the comfort of your home. Yes, it is possible if you understand the value and how to do wholesaling. And if you don't know anything about wholesaling, you need to grab this book. It's absolutely free. There's no page numbers. There's nothing else in there. It's just ready to go, though. Humble.ceo to grab your free copy. I love what you're saying, man, because it's so inept and so true. Like, just start. You'll figure it out along the way. And if you don't start, then you're definitely not going to figure it out, are you?
Not at all. And my life motto, I swear, anytime I was speaking a couple months back before all this, and somebody's like, hey, I'm in this business. I want to start a website. I just don't know what to do. Don't know where to start. I hate those questions because it's very simple. Yeah. I use the Nike logo for everything. Just do it. It's that simple. Just do it. It doesn't matter what order. Yes, if you're building a website, there may be a specific order, but it doesn't matter. Start anywhere in the equation. Anywhere. And once you dig your feet in, you're going to notice everything just starts coming together. Whatever you're doing, I don't care if you're a real estate investor, if you're building a website, if you want to be a motivational speaker, where do you start? Start anywhere. Go on YouTube and watch videos on how to speak. When I was doing my TED Talk, that was the first time I've ever spoke in my entire life, except for rapping on a stage.
You wouldn't know it, man.
Thank you.
You were bang on.
I was nervous as shit. Yep. And right before I spoke, I literally, how silly is this? I went on YouTube and I looked for tutorials on how to stop saying the word I literally went on YouTube to stop saying the word and I think what it was, I think the explanation was something like, just stop saying it. Let airspace fill up. Don't say anything. It's better not to say anything than and I changed everything about that. I stopped saying the word when I was speaking on stage. So where did I start? I just started. I didn't know how to do PowerPoint. I haven't done a PowerPoint in a million years. I went on YouTube and did a tutorial on how to do PowerPoint. Is it that difficult? No, it's not that difficult, but you have to kind of relearn it again and try to figure out the little stuff. So whatever it is you're doing in life, take that Nike slogan and, I'm not promoting Nike, but take that Nike slogan and just do it. Stop thinking. Stop overthinking. The more you think, the more it gets pushed back and time gets wasted. Just do it, bro.
I love that, man. I love it. It's so profound. Just getting in there, making it work. And I know you're a hip hop guy, and slow dough is better than no dough, right? 50 Cent.
Sure. Yeah,
right? For sure. You're better off to make it slow and make it consistent. Yeah, was that?
No, when I tagged him, I posted that snippet, and I was praying that 50 Cent was gonna. I put that in there in hopes that 50 Cent was gonna grab that and repost. He never did, but it was a thought it was a small thought in my head that he made.
But you never know. That's what you got to put into the ether. I learned a long time ago. Stop trying to have control of what happens in the world and just put it into the world. Let the world decide, because maybe 30 years from now, whatever you're doing today becomes relevant, and all of a sudden you've caught a trend. You don't even want to catch a trend. I know a guy who does like stomach vacuums, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and this dude's been doing Arnold, like he's got all the stomach vacuum space on YouTube. If that ever becomes a thing again, the dude's going to be ranking like top of the list. Bro, so just do it though. Go ahead.
No, my bad. I don't mean to cut you off. It's crazy that you say that. And a great example of that is this. So I became friends with a guy that was on the TV show Boardwalk Empire on HBO. And he had it was a decent role. He was Liam. I don't know if you remember Liam. He was with Dino Banyan. I think it was Dino Banyan or something like that. Long story short, he's an actor, and he's getting bigger and bigger, and he's not big on social media. He shot something like 15 years ago. I don't know what it was for, but it was this funny ass skit that everybody thought was real. And his son was talking about how an invader came into the home and he shot the home invader. But the kid was like psychopathic. And he was like, yeah, I shot him once. And then I went back and I shot him again. And then I spread his blood all over the wall. So it went viral, like, I think 8 months ago or a year ago or something like that. And I saw it and it was getting like 12, 15, 20 million views. And I noticed it was my friend, you know, a guy that I've been cool with. And I'm like, bro, do you realize your video is going viral? And he shot it 15 years ago, but it was relevant because all these shootings were happening and it got picked up somehow in the trend of all the shootings and the school shootings. And he blew up on social media because of a video he shot 15 years ago, and he doesn't even understand social media. So your example was dead on. You never know what's going to catch on. 20 years from now, 50 Cent might see that. And so you got to throw these little Easter eggs in your videos. And that's what I teach people when I'm talking about how to go viral. So you want to throw these little Easter eggs in your videos that people will comment on specifically. And you want to encourage these little comments when they would never have commented before if you didn't throw these little Easter eggs in your videos.
I love that, man. I love that. So you basically start the label. You do that. You had some real names on the label too, right?
Well, all of us, we were more along the lines of local artists, although my best friend in the label had blown up in the UK. He had a platinum record over there, and he was doing amazing with a group called Wizard Sleeve, and they had a hit song. But everybody else, we were all like more local artists. It was the names that we were booking that were bigger names. And I got the opportunity to do so many shows with such big names, and it was such a crazy time in my life that I loved every minute of it, you know. But I just kind of got to the point where I'm like, all right, I don't feel like I'm going where I'm supposed to. And I pivoted at the right time because whatever I did, thank God, worked. You know, there was a formula to it. There was a little bit of luck, a lot of skill, a lot of perseverance, and it took off, you know.
So what, like, obviously people are out there looking at you like, man, you got a viral video and a whole bunch of stuff going on now. You're speaking all over the place. It must be nice. You got lucky, right? You get these people, right? Oh, you got lucky, bro. You're like, yep, I get lucky. It just took me 39 years to, you know, pushing on.
Yeah, I know. That's it. That's the word. That you hit it. It only took me. There's no such thing as an overnight success. Maybe you get lucky sometimes, but a majority of overnight successes took 10 years to get there. People that thought DJ Khaled just blew up overnight on Snapchat. Bro, I was watching DJ Khaled on a local radio show in '98. You know what I'm saying? Like, most people don't just blow up overnight. Even Ludacris, people think he blew up with his hit song. Ludacris was a DJ long before any of his songs blew up, years back. So he was grinding forever. Most overnight successes are not overnight successes, you know?
That's powerful. So they say it takes 10,000 hours to gain mastery in something, right?
I read that.
Is you put a lot of hours into a lot of different things. Is there an area of your life that you think you've claimed mastery, or do you look at life that way? I'm just curious.
Let me think. I don't want to say claim the mastery, but there are certain things that I see the matrix on a lot more than others. So, for example, when we started the printing business, it was brand new to me. It was very difficult. I was fucking up orders. I was putting wrong margins on there. It's very printing is very specific, and if you fuck up, you're printing up, you know, $1,000 order, $2,000 order, and you fuck up big time, you know. And my boy saw the printing business as the matrix. For me, what I see, and I feel like I mastered a little, in a sense, most parts of it, is social media. So when I started my social media business, to me, I don't know why, it just flowed properly. I understood it. I see, like, you remember the matrix with the numbers, and everything's flowing, and he sees, I see the whole chessboard with social media. I can see moves ahead. I see how things work. With everything else in my life, you know, certain things are difficult. I'm just starting to get into real estate now. Literally just got my pre-approval for my first investment property yesterday.
Come on, man.
And yeah, that's why I was hyped about seeing your promo. Now, I love real estate to death, but I don't quite see it like the Matrix yet. But maybe I will as I get into it like I have with social media. So, yeah, there are certain things in my life that I call myself an expert. And then there's certain things that it takes me a while to learn. And I know in my heart that I can become an expert. I truly believe in my heart that if I sit down and focus on anything long enough and I dig my feet in, I will be an expert. If I spent the next year really going hard at real estate, I promise you I can make myself an expert. I just know my level of thought. And I've learned this throughout my life that when I dig myself, like, okay, I'll give you a good example. Like, when I'm learning something, I'm like, wow, I'm learning this. I still feel like I don't understand it, but I'm in it for a couple months. Then somebody asks me a question about it, and then it flows out of me like the Matrix. I'm like, yeah, well, with social media, do this, do it. I'm like, holy shit. I didn't even realize I was retaining the information until I taught it to somebody else. So sometimes you have to have somebody to teach you to realize that you really mastered something and understood it, you know?
And something you're saying that I'd like to touch on. So you're like, if I go hard enough at it, I'll just figure this out. And the way I kind of see this is everything is just this, it's a simple puzzle. The more things that you do and the faster you do, the more you can eliminate pieces from that puzzle so you can find the 4 that actually work. And people are, I think people have it backwards. Like, I have to keep going down these things. And like, no, you're removing the obstacles until you find the most obvious path. And then your level of awareness becomes acutely higher. You're like, dude, all this stuff is nonsense. Like, even with real estate, let me tell you, a lot of the stuff that people focus on real estate is just a waste of time. It's garbage. They get analysis paralysis. They get all these strategic things and capital raising and, you know, what kind of property is best and how many doors should I have and how do you calculate ROI and ROT and ROE and all these. And most of that crap will never matter to you. It'll never make a difference because it has nothing to do with your actual goal as a real estate investor. So I'm assuming, and you tell me your thoughts on this, do you see it the same way with like social? You just have to do enough things fast enough before you find out this works, this works, this works? Or how do you gain confidence as a social media guy? If you're brand new and you're like, okay, I want to get started. How do you get to that point where you're at today?
Yeah, you know, sometimes going deep is good, but then other times it's, you know, a lot of times I'll look at analytics and I want to believe in my heart that all the analytics help me. You know, maybe they do a little bit, but then again, they don't help me as much as, you know, as much as I think they do. How do you gain confidence in social media? To be honest with you, you have to go into social media first, not giving a fuck, because you have to expect negative comments. You have to know that going in right off the bat that you're going to get a small amount of negativity, and you have to have thick skin, number one. Number two, by gaining a small fan base by posting consistent content. I think, you know, I've slowed down on posting content because I'm racking up things going on behind the scenes, and I will when the time is right. But posting consistent content and letting it be familiar with people, I think will ease your transition to social media. The more you post, the more people will kind of gravitate towards you and say, okay, this guy's not playing around. He is serious. Even if his videos aren't that funny, I respect the hustle. And when you get the respect of people, you'll ease into social media a lot more and just kind of flow with it. But you gotta put on that thick skin mentality. If you're a very thin skinned person and you are terrified of what someone's gonna think, you're not gonna like social media. You know, it's gonna be rough for you. But you gotta go, man.
But like anything, it can be conquered. Let me be like super transparent, man. Like up until a few years ago, I wasn't on social media. I grew up in a very like conservative Christian household. I didn't want to be like the gossip of the town and all this different thing. And I was always like, I had a fake account on Facebook that wasn't even my picture. Like it was crazy. And then I remember going to see Grant Cardone talk one time, and he said, your biggest problem is obscurity. People don't know who you are. So you can either shoot for massive things and take the criticism as part of the journey, or you can just play small your whole life. Hey, it's Ben Humble. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what my guest is talking about and you're getting massive value from it, then scroll to the bottom, open up the description, and follow them on social media. Support them, connect with them. Just scroll down there, click the link, and let's roll. Stay humble.
I sometimes worry that I'm going to get unlucky one of these times and it's going to go viral for the wrong reasons. Like, one of my first videos I shot, it wasn't bad. It wasn't insulting anyone. It was just like, it was my first video I ever shot. I was dancing so stupidly and we were like fake twerking and I was getting so much shit like, oh, these fucking white people can't dance. I'm like, first of all, the girl in the video is Spanish. She's not white. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, fuck, my first video off the bat, and I'm getting attacked by people because I was joking around, dancing. I was just fucking around. But, you know, nothing that would incriminate me to the point where, you know, I would have to disappear. It wasn't that bad. But I do fear sometimes that things are going to go viral for the wrong reason. When I did the Heat prank, mostly everybody was okay with it. The Heat were kind of mad for a minute. And then I got some hate from a radio station. They were talking about me in a positive way. And then I called in the radio station because people were telling me, yo, they're talking about you. They would love to have you on. And they were so negative towards me, like, oh, you're a piece of shit because you didn't tell the Heat ahead of time. And we hate people that want to do pranks. I was like, first of all, you're on radio. Every radio station pulls pranks. That's one of the biggest things people listen to the radio show for. Ellen DeGeneres does pranks on every episode. Ashton Kutcher had a whole show about pranking. Power 96, 99 Jams, they all have prank shows. If you're not doing pranks on your radio show, as a matter of fact, especially as one of the last AM radio shows standing, your fucking radio station is going to fail. And we were like going back and forth, but they were so negative. And I'm like, I'm hoping that negativity doesn't roll into more things. It was just them. So I got lucky there. But and I still didn't see the reason they're negative. I pulled a prank. I didn't include anyone. I dropped the ring and I walked out. They do proposals at almost every Heat game. Everyone thought it was funny. It's no big deal. I didn't hurt anyone. Nobody got hurt. No one fell. I didn't even involve anyone. I just dropped the ring and walked out. It was that simple. But people always want to find some negative. Now, I still don't want to go viral for something dramatically negative. So I'm praying, or I'm going to be very strategic about trying not to say something overly ridiculous that pisses mad people off. And if they do, you know what? Keep going forward. And I noticed there's another thing. Okay, on this subject, and I call this the Rick Ross and 50 Cent effect. I don't know if you remember when Rick Ross and 50 Cent had that beef. So the perception was that 50 Cent murdered Rick Ross. They even went to the point of fucking having sex with Rick Ross's baby mom on camera. That's some bad shit. Like, that's how bad it got. But Rick Ross was so smart, and he kept dropping music. He kept making hits, kept posting content, and you know what? It faded away. So even if you get really negative shit online and you're being hated on for so long, don't tune it out, forget what's happening, and keep posting new stuff. Make 5, 10 more, 15 more videos to get away from that one, and I promise you, people will forget. People will start paying attention to new videos. It's about posting consistent content. That's the only way to get past a really negative video, is to keep posting new stuff, new funny stuff, and get the people away from that. What was it? Jake Paul, I think he posted a video of seeing a suicide in a forest, and people hated him. He was getting I thought his career was over, but he kept posting new stuff. He was like, I apologize. And then he started posting new stuff. And you know what? He's still booming now.
Around. So 2 questions for you. Number one, do you ever think, like, how do I monetize this? Or if it blows up, now you're thinking the monetization as a business owner side of things? I guess that's the first thing I'm curious about, because I've heard both kind of thoughts on this thing. What's your thought?
That's the exact reason that I put up that billboard, because I did not know how to monetize this whole thing. And the problem with my video that went viral is that it didn't go on one YouTube channel and get millions upon millions of hits. It made the news and then spread across the entire country on 1 million news stations and then in other countries. So there was no money monetization there on a YouTube channel. So that's why I put up the billboard, trying to find a manager so I could try to see what kind of opportunities I can get to get paid for it. The way I monetize it wasn't through views. It was through opportunities. And that's how I monetize it, through getting paid to do the celebrity boxing thing, to, get paid to speak and to do this, and for features, and people paying me to give them shout outs and stuff like that. So I'm monetizing through little opportunities, magazines that I've been in. And every time I do, I got 3 magazine covers that I'm on coming out, and another magazine feature on Miami Vibe. So I'm on the cover of 3. So this is, even though I didn't get paid for these things because they're asking me to be a feature, I will turn these things into monetizing it down the line again. So every little opportunity will lead to something that I'm able to get paid for, because I'm racking up accolades,
I love that, because sometimes when people look at, like, I want to be a YouTuber, it's not just the money you're making from YouTube, the royalties, but all the other opportunities that come with the result of having that attention. That's why Grant Cardone's so big on the attention. It's like, if I just reach everybody, once I've got their attention, I'll figure out how to monetize it. I'll figure out what to do, how to serve them, what to sell them, and so forth and so forth. So it's a much bigger game, so people should. I'm just gonna make a stab here. People should just get started and do it without expecting to become the next she bang, ooh babe. Like, don't expect that instant fame for it. You either doing it for the love of it, and and if it comes, it comes, or you don't. Is that right? Or what's your advice to people maybe who are thinking about in this, or people who are already in social media, and this is like their main focus?
Yeah, I heard Gary Vee talk about that a lot, is stop worrying about how many subscribers you have. Stop worrying about what you're posting. Just keep posting and something will hit. With me, it was a little more strategy than that. I purposely did things that I thought would be relevant to the times and I thought would hit. you know? So a lot of things I shot, I thought would hit. So what I would do is I would combine the two. I would combine strategy and just forget what everybody else thinks, forget your followers, forget what's going on, and just keep posting stuff, you know what I mean? And eventually something will hit if you really want to go viral, if you want, you know, if you really want to blow up on social media. But, you know, be strategic about it. Add those Easter eggs in your videos. Do things that are relevant, you know? Even on TikTok right now, you don't even need to do shit to blow. I mean, my heat prank blew up on TikTok. It's almost at 2 million views. And that was the one that went viral on there. And that was a year after I shot it. But people are fucking sitting there eating ice cream on TikTok, blowing up. It baffles me. So it's a lot easier on there. I mean, you can literally have zero talent and a video goes viral. But, you know, I would use strategy, a little bit of strategy with a little bit of consistency, and eventually one of your videos will take.
Powerful, man. Just powerful stuff. And I'm thankful that you're willing to just, you know, share your experience and help folks gain some clarity over this whole stuff, man. You've got a powerful story, though, even beyond the comedy, beyond the music, beyond all the pranking and all the other stuff. You're just a good guy who's been through, you know, an amazing journey in life. And I'm so thankful that I got a chance to kind of share your story, let people know who you are deep down, the real Brian Breach. Bradley,
Thank you, man.
Brian Breach, right?
Brian Breach.
That's right. I appreciate that, man. Where's the best place? I know you're on all channels here, but where's the best place folks can connect with you and kind of track with you as you keep growing?
Yeah, everybody, you can follow me on Tinder. No, I'm kidding.
You grind it?
Tinder? Yeah, no. Yeah, you can hit me up on Instagram, Brian Breach, Facebook, Brian Breach 03, YouTube, Brian Breach 03, Twitter, Brian_Breach, but mainly Instagram. I can rattle off all of them, but Instagram, yeah. Find me on Instagram.
Hey, it's Ben Humble. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what my guest is talking about and you're getting massive value from it, then scroll to the bottom, open up the description, and follow them on social media. Support them, connect with them. Just scroll down there, click the link, and let's roll. Stay humble.
Make sure to subscribe to Ben on YouTube so you can stay up to date on everything Humble, featuring daily episodes of the Humble Podcast and weekly video content providing motivation, real estate strategies, and personal development for everyday life. Also, follow Ben on Facebook and Instagram for daily interactions. Check out humble.ceo and download a chapter of Ben's new book, From Communism to Capitalism, absolutely free.